is that everything that I'm going to show you on the GUI, I'm going to show you on the command line. So if you want to script these things, you can still script these things. And more importantly, let me go to ignore a file. Actually, I'm going to go directly to the command line. Just I find it easier to see the commands. With this command, when you're doing the command line, you can specify the right side and the left side and no profile file. You can specify every single option on your command line. Or you can specify a profile. You can say, Unison, local profile, let me start it. Actually, what was the name of our profile? It's Curelet-Balan test. So it says that there's nothing to do directly on the command line. If I change a file, I'm going to delete this file. There are, again, different switches. One that is just do whatever you need to do, don't even ask me. But the default, as I said, it has very sensible defaults. The default is ask me. So it says, okay, delete it. What do you want me to do? If you put question mark, these are all the options. F in particular means follow whatever you told me to do, but you can say or ignore or nice E, permanently ignore. That means that it will add it to the profile. So if they say, I'm going to always ignore this path. So next time that I do it doesn't see any changes. But if I go, I should have kept it open. I'll actually turn on. I always forget to do this. Reminding people that are at the back. Okay, now people can see, right? So it says nothing. If I do it automatically added that to the profile. So I don't have to do anything. So as you see, over time, you can be creating your profiles and you only have to do it, you only have to tell it once. I found it pretty neat. And the more you see, you will see the complexity that this little tool with just one simple interface it really has two screens. One where you edit the profile, and the other one where you execute the profile. What could be simpler than that? And this is for local profiles. Let me open the remote profile. Actually, no. It doesn't look so nice here. On my remote profile, one root is in my local folder. My other root is in my other folder. If I had Unison on 3 files, I could use one computer to synchronize from this to that, because it's hey, by the way, what do you have? What do you have? And orchestrate everything. It can. The way that is recommended to do more than 2-way synchronization, if you need 3 or 4-way synchronization, the best way, and I think it's a logical way, is to do it in a star form. Instead of synchronizing everything with everything, you have one that says, okay, synchronize A with B and A with C, you're done, right? You should be complete just by those two. You don't need to do all the combinations. So let's create an SSH profile for our remote. Let's add a new profile, and we're going to call it I'm not going to put a description. I'm going to say it's going to use SSH. The host in this particular case, I'm just going to use localhost. But it could be any SSH that you have access to. User and that's what the pan is. Enable compression because the compression as it moves. So I already said that my local directory was folder 1, and my remote directory is so I have to give the full path on the remote system from the point of SSH. No fact. So if I do this, it's going to do the same thing but with the remote. And by the way, I don't know if we want to break. We normally have a break around this time, or do we continue?
Take a break.
20 after.
Sorry?
20 after 8.
20 after 8. What does that mean?
Means, why don't we continue?
Okay. Everybody's okay? I can continue.
I do have a question. Does it support syncing its own profiles? Because you can imagine if you have that star topography, you might want to stand on one side of the star and say, oh, you know, my PYC files, don't want those to go everywhere.
Yes.
I'm adding to ignore.
The answer is yes. What they recommend when you're synchronizing the configuration folder is just synchronize the profiles. Don't synchronize the...
Of course, that doesn't make any sense.
The other files.
You won't be able to detect
No,
the changes.
well, people say, okay, why don't you synchronize .unison here with .unison there, and they screw up everything, right?
But does it have the, like, you can imagine maybe my central node is syncing with my data sets and my wife's data sets, and so I update parts of my profile, so it needs to update parts of my profile there, but I don't have any, you know, my wife's data is her own data, I don't look at her profile and sync it. So does it have that, or is it really kind of monolithic where?
No, actually, it remember
Because
that
each profile is in a different file, so that wouldn't be a
yeah,
problem.
yes, and remember that I said that one of the things that I look for when I look for a solution is enough documentation and support. Well, this is the user guide for this very simple tool. It is a huge file with a lot of detail, with a lot of examples. Let me go down this. And wow, preferences that are clearly explained. Wow, that really, when I started reading that, it's like, wow, I can understand. Sometimes they say links XX sets the number of links, like to what? What should the XX be, right? No, here you actually say, oh, when you set it to true, it does this. When you set it to false, it does that. It is fairly well explained. And somewhere here, I read exactly that case. If you want synchronized profiles, just ensure that you don't synchronize them.
One little comment about when you said synchronizing multiple computers, like to sync A with B and then A with C, that assumes that the change was made on A. Because otherwise, if you made a change on B, or on C, that wouldn't probably need to be until the second time through.
Yes. Yes. That, again, logical things. again, over SSH, you can set how many threads you want, so it doesn't only use one channel, so it can actually synchronize files in parallel using different channels, multiple threads. As I said, it has very fine control on how to do things. Well, you saw that when we're synchronizing, we can say merge or show the differences. If I go and another thing that I like about this tool is it leverages things that we already know. When it says, okay, I don't know, these two files changed, it uses diff. And given that it uses diff, you can actually set up an option that uses diff, command line options. If you prefer to compare, for example, side by side, or if you want to compare using some context lines, or you can add diff command line switches to your instructions. So when it does that, it works. I'm going to skip this. Actually, no, I'm not going to skip this. I said, oh, I deleted it by mistake. So I synchronized. And now it's in both sides because it said, okay, I deleted it here, I don't have it here. It says deleted from here. No, actually, go the other way around and create it here. Do the opposite. So that's how much fine control it has. So let's say that we have file 1 and we say, changed on left side. And we have this one that's changed on the right side. And if I run Unison again, it says, oh, changed, and I don't know what to do. And it shows the difference. It does the diff, and it shows that I remove changed, and I remove the left side, and I change the right side on the other one. And I could decide to merge them, or I can decide to say, okay, no, really, the one that I wanted was the left one, the one that I wanted was the right one, or let me deal with it later. Right? I'm not going to do anything here. I'm going to open the command line, and I'm going to show you if I do. It's doing the same thing here. I could, of course, skip, or I could say, show me the difference. Everything from the command line. But as I said, I put a command. Let me see on my samples. One of the things that you can do on the command line that you cannot do on the GUI is repeated pull. So it's continuous synchronization. If I do think that here I'm not even using a profile, right? I could use a profile for this, but actually, what am I doing wrong here? Just give me a second.
You're in the wrong directory, I think. No, there isn't. Yeah.
Actually, no, because I'm giving it a profile. If I
Uppercase T.
You may want your options if you can. At least according to the what you got at the very top.
just no, probably it is.
Yeah,
I have a KW log test. Why doesn't it like it? Wow, I wasn't expecting that. He doesn't like spaces.
Too many spaces.
Wow, he doesn't like spaces. Let's do left, and then after you do all that, it still asks you, okay, now, do you really want to do this? So yes. So now everything is the same. Now I can do the, okay. Now, let me see if we can see this, if I put it down here, and the other one, I'm gonna open this file. And I'm gonna say change on the right side again. And I say, remember I changed on the right side, right? I haven't done anything else. I go to the left side, and it's changed. If I go here and say, and I save, if I open this, it changes on the left. So as you can see, you can put this as a demo and ensure that it's always synchronized. So it's real-time synchronization, in the same way that something like Dropbox would work. I put multiple paths. As I said, you can specify multiple paths. I forgot to put an example there, but if we go to the examples here, I don't know, probably I put it there, but I forgot to say. Yes, when you specify your paths, you can just specify the root folders and then a bunch of paths that you want to synchronize. And that is Unison. As I said, well documented, very stable, very simple on the surface, very complicated underneath. And you can do things that when I was trying to do them using Robocopy or rsync or my scripts, I could only dream of doing this as easy as I'm doing it with Unison. Alongside Unison, I started investigating another one called Sparkleshare. Sparkleshare is fairly similar in concept to Unison, but it works based on Git. You have to specify your Git repository, you initialize your Git repository, and then you just add things to that repository, and runs as that one runs as default, as a daemon. In this particular case, I created a Deeppocket project just for this, although Deeppocket doesn't want you to do that because it says this is for source files, not for your pictures and your documents. But you can create your own Git. I just created it for demo purposes. So if I go to and it works with Deeppocket, GitLab, GitHub. Oh, now I don't have connectivity. Okay, you create your profiles where you say, well, it's on my own server, and when you do it on your own server, it does it through SSH. Something interesting is that to avoid asking for password every time, you have to share a key. The nice thing is that if you come here and you say client ID, copy to clipboard, it actually copies the key to the clipboard, and you have to do something manually. You just add it to your authorized keys on SSH. On the server side of the SSH, and that means that every time that Sparkleshare runs, it's going to communicate your key. When I went to Deeppocket or GitHub, you actually have to use that key and register that key on the server, so you're not asked for a password every time. Anybody that has that key can go in. So again, on your server or Deeppocket or GitHub, Victorious, those are the ones that are here. But you can actually do more if you know what you're doing. The configuration files are fairly simple. Let me go home. Again, one of the things that I like about Linux is how simple the configuration files tend to be. If I was connected to something else that I already configured, I could just create a guest one and then just replace it here with a text editor, and I am all set. And given that we have time, by the way, are there any more questions about Unison or Sparkleshare?
Do you know if they're supporting any of the Git large file extensions?
No, in fact, one of the things that they say that they are not good at is handling of large files.
Oh.
They say if you have large binary files, we are not a good use case for that. They say on the page. Oh, and I was gonna give it a thumbs down. I found it a great tool. I think that the idea is awesome. If you want to know how to do something, you are either a Git expert already, or you go and ask somewhere else, because it's very difficult. For me to figure out that I had to put that key on SSH, blah, 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 it took me some time to actually figure out, and I got it from a blog, someone else's blog, not even InterSite.
So it's using Git in the back end, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say there is a add Git push loop somewhere in this for all the people who use Git. You know what I'm talking about. So can you version? Can you say, oh crud, I didn't actually mean all those hateful things. Revert, Git revert.
Yes, absolutely yes.
Cool.
It gives you that control. So if you are a Git user, if you have your own Git server, and if you want to use it to synchronize files, this is awesome. I really like it for that. Again, that's a good mark. The dumb mark is documentation.
Speaking of Git, there's another Git-based tool called Git Annex Assistant. Did you see anything about it?
No, Git.
Git Annex, as in an extra room.
Oh yeah.
It's a command line plugin for Git that handles large binary files in Git. And then there's a tool, Git Annex Assistant, which is a GUI for it, much like these. But it's really new, which is why you probably didn't see it. And
Yes.
it's kind of unstable, but if it gets stable, it looks really cool.
Great. Yeah, remember that I'm on the user space, so I tend to avoid things that look like beta, or like, yeah, I do that for certain things, but not with my data. But yeah, that's a good point.
sharing, right? Can you only just share a certain directory? So for instance, if I was at work, working on a file, I could move that, copy that to a directory. Only that directory is being synced.
Yes, you mean with Sparkleshare? By the way, with all the things that I looked at today, yes, you have fine control over which files you want to sync.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah, because with Unison, you actually specify the paths that you want to synchronize. And with Sparkleshare, yes, as long as you put the files in a folder that has been initialized, that if it's a server that you init that, or that you cloned. Actually, no. Let me put it this way. If you're using Sparkleshare, you don't have to do the clone thing. It does it all for you. Once that you install Sparkleshare, you say where's your repository, and then it will synchronize. Under the covers, let me go here. Actually. Okay, I should have done this before. Under the covers here, for example, remember that I just created the standard tutorial folder on Deeppocket that had some tutorial files. If you see, it has the Git folder. So you don't have to do anything, you don't have to do the clone, all that is transparent to you, but it still has a Git. The next thing is that if you're working with Sparkleshare, you can still use all your Git commands for doing different things, like reverting or connecting to a different head or things like that, or to a different branch. Any more questions? Okay, so finally, again, when I was saying I don't just share in one way, I realized that a lot of the things that I want to carry around are my little notes. I have an awful memory, but I think that I don't know anybody other than people that are medical proven that have bad memory, that have as bad memory as me, right? Sometimes I have to think when people say, what's your date of birth? It's like,
It's okay, Frank. We all understand.
Yes. So, I write notes. I used to write those notes on little papers, and I would lose the paper, so I said, no, I use computers, so I'd rather put it in a single place. So I started using Sim, and Sim is pretty neat, especially, it's like a personal wiki that where you create your notes, you organize your notes, and of course, if you combine that with folder syncing with some of the other utilities, or with Kiwix, and Kiwix, which is a utility for Android, you could actually organize your notes using full open source software. On my Android, I tend to use Google Keep or Evernote. Probably with Evernote, it doesn't have a client for Linux, so you have to rely on the web user interface. And again, you can own your notes, and you know that your notes are being looked at. How do you know? Because when you install the plugin for Chrome, when you do a search, it actually search your notes to you. So that means that they have to look at your files.
You could have an HTML file that's being shared by other computers. So that when you go to that other computer, you can link to other things on the internet. See, one of the problems I have in my library is I've got 2 workstations.
Yes.
Okay. And so right now I've been using TiddlyWiki, and I have
Remember, when we talk about synchronization, we talk about not using the same file, but each one their own file that is kept synchronized. And with Evernote and Zim, no, the files are in a single place and then you access it there. Again, unless you do that file synchronization. Let me see if I thought I had installed it here. I have it in my other computers. One nice thing about for the Linux people that like using Evernote elsewhere, there is a plugin for Emacs called Evernote Mode, which allows you to connect to your Evernote and edit all your notes directly from the Emacs interface, which we know how some people find it more efficient. And, well, I think that was it. Oh, sorry.
So I just had a couple things then. One is I use Google Tasks, and the reason why I use Google Tasks is it's not a separate ecosystem, it's actually in Gmail. So it's like integrated. I've drunk the Kool-Aid. Okay, when I go to the bathroom, it's the Google Colors now, and all that stuff. And when you buy into the Google Tasks, you've got it there in Gmail. It's a very frictionless thing. There are really good plugins. Like I have, share the tasks, and boom, it's in my Google Task list on Android. On iOS, there is good Google Task apps. My notification screen, I can, hey, I see I have a task due today, and I've got these other things sometime type and so forth. You can create different task lists and so forth. And I found it really good if you're willing to pay $5 to $10 to get all the little apps you want. It's just treated me really well and made me feel really bad about the amount of stuff I do.
By the way, I haven't used Google Task, I use Google Keep.
It's almost the same thing. I mean, Task has been there for a long time, and then Keep has sort of come in recently. And I'm old school.
Okay.
So there's that. The other thing is for anybody here who's thinking about that slightly missing link of like, no, I don't want to sync. I want it to sync. I want it to read my mind and say, I've done something, just do it.
Yeah.
Look for the word iNotify. One word, iNotify. It is a kernel level service built into Linux. Mac has something that does this, but I don't know what it's called, and so does Windows. But what this is you can subscribe to file activity. So you can say, when something happens in this directory, let me know. And this came out like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, because there were these little desktop search apps. This was back before Spotlight, and they used to have to every day index your whole hard drive and say, okay, here's your search index for today. And then iNotify came around, and now when you change the file, it could immediately update the index. And so it became, rather than a big, crunch to the file system, it would react. Yeah. And so you can either use iNotify to say, just SCP the files when they change here. You get a one-way sync. You can just hook into iNotify and say, when something happens, just send it to the web server. But if you want, for example, to use Unison, which I'm still wearing socks, but my boots are tight, otherwise I would knock them right off. That would be a way of maybe queuing up Unison tasks, like saying, hey, if you see a file change in this directory, queue it to give an app command to do a sync in 10 minutes. And then that way, if there's a bunch of little changes, it'll kind of batch itself up. And that might be a good way to get your synchronization how you want it. Or
that's a good idea. And by the way, you talked about iNotify at some point, like
it was my first talk, sourceless code inspection.
Yeah, it was when we were meeting at the Heater, right?
We were at the Heater.
Yeah.
What was the tool you were using for that mind map?
It's called FreeMind, and I cannot recommend it enough. It is pretty much what I use at work, what I use my personal things. As I said, I have a bird's nest for a head. being able to put all my things here and organize my talks without having to think linearly as in a presentation or in a document where I can jump, collapse the